From Ocean View, the publishing capital of the world, in color, it's your favorite literary game show, Readers Ask Authors. With an extraordinary panel of special guests and your wonderful host, Lisa Daly.
Ta-da! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Readers Ask Authors game show with many of your favorite Ocean View authors. Today, we have the awesome and talented Max Tomlinson. Tell us about your new book.
My new book is called Bad Scene. It is set in San Francisco in 1978, and it's the third of Colleen Hayes' mysteries. So
awesome.
Pretty excited about it.
Super exciting. We've also got Andrea Carter with us here today. Hello, Andrea. Welcome.
Hi, Lisa. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. And you are the author of a new book coming out called Murder at Gray's Bridge. Tell us a little bit about your series.
That's right. My series is the Inishowen Mysteries, which are set on the Inishowen Peninsula in Ireland. It's the most northerly peninsula in Ireland. And Murder at Gray's Bridge involves a wedding, a spooky old house, and an island.
It's a great read. Here we go. We've also got David Putnam with us here today. Welcome, David. Your new book is called The Ruthless. Tell us a little bit about your series.
Bruno Johnson is an ex-cop, ex-con who rescues children from toxic homes in South Central Los Angeles. He couldn't do it when he was a cop because of the rules and regulations. Now he goes outside the law to rescue the children. The Ruthless is the 8th in the series. It's the 4th and final prequel that establishes his background. It's a story of a undercover sting where the cops are buying stolen property and stolen guns, and there's a murder that Bruno gets pulled into.
Awesome. We also have Linda L. Richards with us here today, who is the author of many books, including your most recent title.
Ta-da! Endings. Yes. Is the story of a damaged hit woman struggling towards redemption.
It's such a great concept, such a great title. We also have with us the awesome and fabulous Matt Witten. Hello, Matt, and welcome. Tell us about your new book that's coming out.
Sure. My new book is The Necklace, and it's about a small town waitress who travels across the country to witness the execution of the man who killed her young daughter 20 years ago. But she comes to find out that this guy is going to be executed on Saturday. Maybe he really didn't do it. And maybe the person who really did do it is still at large and, in fact, has a daughter who may be at risk. So she's got to find out the truth before Saturday at 5:30 to when this guy's scheduled to be executed.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We also have the fabulous Vincent Zandri here. Vincent has a new book coming out. Tell us all about it. Actually, it just came out.
It just came out. The tagline for this one is, Are You Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf? And it's about a mother and her preteen daughter who head up to Paradox Lake in the Adirondacks for some peace and serenity for 3 months. And they meet some of the local townspeople, and the mother happens to fall in love with a local general store owner. And turns out that he and a buddy of his are not exactly who they appear to be. And so this one turns into a real big horror suspense thriller that hopefully is unputdownable.
That's what I hear. We also have Matt Coyle with us here today. Matt, tell us about your new book. Oh, no, wait. We can't hear you. Hold on. All right, hold on. Matt's going to work out his audio issue here for a second. Nope, you're muted, Matt. Hold on. You've muted yourself. You're not connected. All right, we're going to go right to DP Lyle. Yes, we have got you. Go ahead.
All right, well, I was pissed because I was seventh person and the second Matt, so I muted. My last book, Blind Vigil, came out in December. It's about a private eye who's lost his vision and his way, who tries to help his friend accused of murder.
Excellent. And it is part of the absolutely fantastic Tell us. Rick
Rick Cahill
series.
series. Don't try to make up for having me be last.
Tell you what, you get to be the first person to answer my question. How about that? All right, here we go. And we've also got DP Lyle with us today. DP Lyle, tell us about your new book.
The new book is called The OC. It's the fifth in my Jake Longley comedic thriller series. And Jake and Nicole end up coming out to Orange County, California, where she originally lived. And a friend of hers who is a local TV celebrity picks up a stalker. And the story goes crazy from there.
As they always do. All right, we have one more guest who may be a mystery guest. Is he with us? Mr. R.G. Belsky, can you hear us?
Yeah, what do I need to click? Can you hear me?
Yes, you are live on the air. Here are our little audiences here. So
I'm not sure why you can't see me. Maybe, but anyway, you're not missing a whole lot.
Turn the lights on, Dick.
Yeah. It says everyone can see and hear you. You're on the show. But
yes, you are. We're live at the U.S. Book Show right now. So
all right. But anyway, so my book, I can't hold it up. At least I can't see myself. So
that's okay. You keep talking. I'll hold it up for you.
It's called Beyond the Headlines, and it features two of the things that I loved the most when I was a journalist covering or did a lot of. One of which is covering crime stories, and the other is covering celebrity stories. And this is a story about celebrity crime. So I get to put them all together.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for being here today. We are about to get to the game. We have taken some of the most interesting questions that readers ask authors, and we are going to answer them here on the show today. So is everybody ready for Readers Ask Authors?
Yeah.
Yes.
Woo! All right, here we go, guys. So our first question... Just jump in if you have the answer to it. Have you ever based a character on someone you hated?
I have. Oh my God, yes. And
yes?
in fact, in my book Moonlight Weeps, that won the Thriller Award and the Shamus Award, and in fact, the person recognized himself in it, but he couldn't admit it was him because then he'd be admitting he was an asshole. Oh, can I say that?
Well, you just did, so that's okay.
All right, sorry. All right.
Yeah, and I'm still pissed off about that.
No, it's none of you guys.
All right. So anybody else?
Yeah, I think probably a lot of us kill off people that we don't like in our books. I know I used to live in Saratoga Springs, and the people that lived next door to me were noisy drug dealers, and their landlord was a police officer. So I killed off the police officer. And then in another novel, we had this one elementary school principal that was really ticking us off when our kids were in elementary school. So I killed him off.
Look at you. I don't want to cross Matt. Oh my gosh.
I have never ever done that. But in my first book, the major bad guy was a corporate psychopath. And all of my girlfriends said, did you base that character on Tony? Did you base that character on Paul? And I'm sure you based that. They all thought it was their ex-husband.
And
it wasn't.
Yes, I would take them all out for drinks and say, yes, it absolutely was. All right. Anybody else kill off?
Wait a second, because I am actually appearing now on the screen because I figured out how to uncover my camera. I just like to say, so normally when I write books, I write about characters that I like, and I utilize them in my thing. But I'm actually in the new Claire book, which I'm just working on now, Lisa. I have to have a very unpleasant bad boss for Claire, and I've had one or two along the way, and I'm having a lot of fun putting that into the book, and even making the person worse than they were in real life, which is not easy.
That is really funny. We actually have a comment. CO Savvy says, what's the point of being a writer if you can't torture your enemy, if not only in book world? Mm-hmm. That is an excellent.
Totally
yeah, exactly. That is an excellent point. Oh my gosh, you guys. All right. So let's go on to our next question. Dun, dun, dun. What's the biggest secret about authors that no one knows? Who wants to answer that one?
that we don't get dressed.
That about says it all.
It may be the case that people do know that, but I think most of us write either in our pajamas, our underwear, or whatever is closest. I certainly go straight from bed to laptop via the
None of us should stand up right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I tend to write outside in cafes and stuff, so I generally am required to put clothes on before I write.
Oh, that's no fun.
Yeah, I've tried it the other way, and it gets very ugly. So yeah.
That is funny. All right, you guys, what's your favorite deadline snack? What is your go-to? I don't know if I'm going to make my deadline, but I'm going to have to write all night kind of snack. What do you do?
Wine.
Okay,
I'm gonna go through the list because everybody has an answer for that. Max, what's your favorite deadline snack?
Something like I hate to be boring, but veggies, carrots, something you can eat at a keyboard.
Oh my gosh, my favorite deadline snack is like caramel covered popcorn with little chocolate and nuts. Not something you should eat at the keyboard, which is why I often have to replace keyboards. Andrea Carter, tell us, what is your favorite deadline snack?
Yeah, I have the same problem with replacing keyboards because mine is a crisp sandwich. And that would have to involve Irish Tato crisps, which are the best crisps in the world. Cheese and onion. 2 slices of really bad for you white bread and butter and crisps.
No, okay, so you have white bread, butter, and crisp, aka potato chip sandwich.
Yeah.
Okay,
nothing else.
That sounds both terrible and divine. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. David Putnam, what is your favorite deadline snack?
Raw chocolate chip cookie dough, but it kind of tends to give me gas.
There's a picture.
That might be a bit of an overshare, but thank you very much for playing the game.
Nice.
All right, Matt Coyle, what's your favorite deadline snack?
I want to thank Dave for coming in off the docks this morning to talk to us. Ice cream, of course.
Ice cream. What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Chocolate, probably.
Really? Okay, that's good. That's good.
Matt,
All right.
Matt, are you sitting on a phone book?
No, I'm sitting in my underwear on 2 phone books.
Vincent Zandri, what's your favorite deadline snack?
If I had to choose, I would say sushi.
Okay.
Mm.
Do you worry about?
I wanted to be all fancy.
You are fancy. That is fancy. But you live in New York, where you can get any kind of food delivered in the middle of the night. So I think that that probably has an impact, right?
It's the one who's in the real New York. I'm in upstate in cow country.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't recognize that as the same area.
It's not. Different state.
Matt Witten, what's your favorite deadline snack?
This would be another vote for ice cream.
Ooh, okay.
Toasted coconut ice cream.
Oh, I like that.
That is good and different. That's really an original choice. All right, that's cool. Linda, what are you eating in the middle of the night when you're writing?
Not eating. Wine or latte, depending on the time of day.
Awesome. I love that. The liquid snack. That is very nice. Doug Lyle, how about you?
Popcorn and bourbon.
Oh, nice. Yeah, classy.
I know, right? And that sounds like such a writer snack, doesn't it? Popcorn and bourbon.
You got enough for Hemingway.
Mr. Belsky.
Well, as Matt complained earlier, going last, I mean, all the good stuff is taken, but I think I'd agree pretty much with DP Lyle on, well, with you on the popcorn, but liquor and popcorn are probably 2 pretty good staples. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. Hold on. Ready? Oh, I just put Matt in the #1 spot. I'm going to mix people all around. It's going to be like bingo or some other fancy 70s game show. There we go. Here we go.
Busy.
All right. Ooh, now everybody's in the hot seat. Okay. Ready? I love this question. Where was the first place you were ever asked the question, I have a great idea for a book. Will you write it and we can split the money?
Oh, my God.
Well, I have a partner, Bob, who says that he can write a book. And my answer is, well, why don't you? And he says, no, I can really write a book. I said, well, why don't you? No, I can really do this. Well, why don't you? And he said, well, we can do it together. I said, no, we can't. So that's probably the first.
That is probably the first. All right. Well, that's good. I know. I think people always they think that the idea part is the hard part, and it's the right. You guys have ideas all day long, every day. More ideas than you could ever write books for.
Right.
All right. Anybody else have a good story about that?
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say, I'm sorry. Here we go. Fumbling over. I get this in the bars all the time. I was just going to say, and you get somebody next to you, like, you write books. Like, I got this great idea for a book, and it just goes on forever. And then, like, you can write it. And, but I'm like, well, you have to give me 10 grand. And they're like, no, we'll split it. Or like when the book is published, then you'll get your money. And I'm like, okay,
right.
I'm right on. Anyway, sorry to jump in.
Exactly. Well, speaking of money, here's the answer to the question. What do you think? Do authors make a lot of money? This is like a really yeah. Some authors make a lot of money. Yeah. What do you guys think?
Of course they do. That's why we all have private jets and Lamborghinis.
That's exactly right.
I bought the shirt on Amazon for $19. You decide.
I paid $19.
19, pricey.
Wow.
He's
funny though. It's funny though. I teach some students sometimes TV writing, and it's amazing to me how many of them really get into it because they want to make a lot of money. They want to be like successful, rich TV writers. And it's like, it's so confusing. It's so different from the reason my guess is that we all got into writing was just we loved writing and had stories to tell. And I don't know what to make of these folks. They just seem like they're from a different planet to some extent. It's interesting.
Well, it is nice, I think, to not have to worry about, paying the mortgage and all that. I will say that the reason that Matt is able to splurge on shirts is because he doesn't have to wear pants. All right. Here we go. Sit down, Matt. Okay. So describe your new book in 5 words or hand gestures. I'm going to start with you, Matt, because you wanted to be first.
Let's see. Last Redemption out November 30th.
All right, that was great. Belsky, new book in 5 words or hand gestures.
I'll do 5 words because I don't know what the hand gestures. Celebrity, crime, intrepid reporter. That's 4 words.
Nice.
Good job. All right, Linda. I know, right? Well, he's a former newspaper guy, so that he's going to use as few words as he can. All right, Linda Richards.
I think I did that in the intro. Damaged hit woman struggling towards redemption. I'm also an old newspaper guy.
Nice. Very nice. Very good job. All right, Max, what about you? 5 words or hand gestures?
Things do not go well.
Excellent. Vince Zandri, how about you?
No.
That was great. I liked it a lot. Okay, DP Lyle, 5 words or hand gestures to describe your new book.
Celebrity stalker creates humorous chaos.
Nice. That's a good one.
Good.
All right, good job. Here we go, Mr. David Putnam. 5 words or hand gestures.
There you go.
I like that.
Just another morning on the docks.
For the hearing impaired.
Matt Witten, new book, 5 words or hand gestures.
Unlikely hero discovers inner strength.
Oh, good. I like that. All right, Andrea Carter, your last. Tell us.
Ghost, poison, fishing trawler, apricots.
Ooh, nice. Love that. Very good job. Okay, this is one of my favorite questions. Ready? When was the first time you realized people who weren't related to you were reading your books? I'm going to start from the bottom this time. I'm going to start with Andrea. What do you think?
The first time I realized was when I got an email from a complete stranger in Australia. And that was after my first book came out. And he has continued to email me with each book, which is very nice. But he gives me a full review of each book that he reads. So I know now if I have a book out and I don't hear from him, then something's gone wrong somewhere along the road. Exactly. So
something's terribly wrong. I love that. Right. And is the first time that happens, aren't you sort of inclined to go like, do you know my mother? Are you sure you don't know my mother?
And how did you get my email address?
Yes, that's another weird one too. All right. So DP Lyle, first time you realized people who weren't related to you were reading your books.
It's probably my first book signing at the Mystery Bookstore in LA that's no longer with us, unfortunately. But we drove up there and there was a line down the block. And I'm thinking, oh, this is pretty cool. And I parked and went inside and there were all my books on display. And it's like, whoa, wow, dude. And then I realized Ray Bradbury was sitting there. And once he finished signing, the store was empty except for us and the staff.
I have a similar story. I was on a television show and I had just come back from a UK tour, but I was in Minneapolis doing a show, and all these like people kept coming down and asking the receptionist, "Is she here yet? Is she here yet?" And I thought, like, I had no idea I was becoming so popular. It was for a dog. It was for a dog. And there was actually a Sex and the City episode that came out a couple of weeks later that was the same dog. And I think this has to have happened to someone else besides me. So, oh my gosh. All right, Linda, how about you?
My first book was nonfiction, computer related. And on the eve of publication was the very first time that I freaked out because people were going to actually see it. And what if I got stuff wrong? I mean, fiction has a beauty that way, doesn't it? We could just make this stuff up. When it's nonfiction, there's so much pressure to get it all right.
True.
That's true. Anybody else have a good story about how the first time you realized people who were not related to you were reading your books?
Well, for me, it's
good story, but I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, for me, I'm going to talk about... You're up, Matt. You go, Matt.
Okay, Matt.
First time it happened to me is when I read a 2-star Goodreads review.
That's going to be my next question. Okay, you read a 2-star Goodreads review, then you know this is not my mother, or probably not my mother. All right, what about you, R.G. Belsky? First time you realized.
This is gonna, tell you something about my age. But the first time was my first novel, and there was no internet, so you couldn't look at Amazon reviews. You couldn't look at, Goodreads. What the hell is that? And I got the old-fashioned thing where somebody read one of my books. They sent a letter to the publishing house. If you remember how this works, and then the publishing house would send you the letter, and you would get this in the mail. I know this sounds astounding, but this is the way it happened. And I got a letter from, I just read your book. I love your character. I want to be like your character. It was actually a little weird, but I always remembered that, and it was like, wow, I'm not related to this person, and this person seemed to really enjoy the book.
That is awesome. Well, speaking of reviews, do you read all of your Amazon reviews, or all of your Barnes & Noble reviews, or all of your Goodreads reviews? Matt, I'm going to you first.
Yes, because I'm a masochist.
Yes. All right, Belsky, how about you?
I do. The answer from a lot of people is, I don't care about them and I don't read them, but I do. I read them. With Matt, it's like you can't stop. And like with most people, I think, I've been very lucky with reviews, but if I get 99 great reviews, the one that sticks with me is the bad one, and that is tough. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, definitely.
What's wrong with this person? Why don't
Linda, how about you? Do you read all your Amazon Goodreads?
I so much want to sit here all chilly cool and say, oh no, I never look. But yeah, I read them.
Yeah. Max, how about you?
Yeah, probably just a few times a day. I mean, I think, I'd love to say, I don't read reviews either, but everybody does. And they really mean a lot, especially the nice ones. I think I got one a while back that said somebody was rereading a book. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's great. So
you love that.
The one thing I don't do is respond to reviews. I mean,
that's good advice. That's good advice. Vincent Zandri, do you read all your Amazon reviews?
I took advice from Blake Crouch once. Read the first 10 and then stop. And that's what I do. I read the first 10 and then I don't even look at it.
That's good advice. That is very good advice.
Both are.
Right? Then you get the general gist of what people are saying about the book, but you're not torturing yourself.
Yeah.
No, you get all your family's reviews. So
No, the families can't leave reviews anymore.
yes.
Yeah.
DP Lyle, do you read your Amazon reviews?
Well, I don't read all of them, but I think I read a few, and then I get tired of everybody saying how wonderful I am and what a great book it is. I'll move on. But no, it's I'll read a few, but I'm not a slave to them. No.
All right. How about you, David Putnam? You read your reviews?
Yes, I do.
Awesome. Matt, how about you?
I kind of do a variation of what Vincent was saying. I read the first 50 reviews and I kind of, take them seriously and see what I might, learn, both positive and negative. And then after that, I only look on Saturday mornings. I look once on Saturday mornings, and I tend to just really at that point just really read the good reviews. I kind of don't need to read the bad reviews anymore. I've already gotten what I needed, so that's kind of what I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Andrea Carter, what about you? Do you read those reviews?
Yeah, I read some of them. I certainly don't read them all. I'm a bit like Matt in that I if I need a bit of an ego boost, I read the good ones. And there was a while there when I was getting quite a few reviews about telling me off for using the Lord's name in vain.
Oh no.
And I sort of stopped reading reviews at that stage, reading some of my US reviews, because I thought they're going to just keep coming, those ones, because my books are just full of that, because that's the way Irish people speak, So,
Right.
I stopped for a while, but I've started again, I think. Yeah.
So we have some comments. I want to go through a couple of them, and then we'll go back to our last questions. Chasing Epiphanies says popcorn is the true ambrosia. Very, very nice. CO Savvy says, I'm such a fan of snail mail. That is such a nice way to get a letter. And the other great thing about getting a piece of fan mail by snail mail is that you could keep it, right? It's different than those digital reviews that just kind of disappear.
If it comes to your house, it's a little spooky.
It is a little spooky. All right. So I had M.M. Ward says, I had a neurologist from Australia compliment my genetics research and a Canadian naturalist compliment my research for food and water adulteration for revelation of ash. All right. That's pretty cool.
And I just can I legit, right? Because I said, you don't have to research like you do for nonfiction. And the reality is, as soon as those words came out of my mouth, I kind of partly wanted to snatch them back, because I certainly do a lot of research. I know y'all do as well. So yeah, that I heard that and just wanted to respond real quick, because it's of a different nature and a different. I mean, nonfiction tends to be like all research. So anyway,
yeah,
You just don't need footnotes.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So point well taken.
All right, here we go. Next question. Do you have any writing superstitions or rituals? Who wants to go first on this one?
Mine is a very simple one. As I said, mine is a very simple one, and that is everything I write is on a yellow legal pad with a pen. I've never written fiction any other way, even though all my life I've written on a computer when I'm writing newspaper stories. For some reason, it just works, and I don't know, it's a superstition or a ritual, but it's the only thing I do. And the other kind of ritual I have when writing, which is probably not that unusual, is I try to never stop. In other words, I just keep trying to go through the book, because if you stop and you start worrying about a chapter or something like that, I find myself going down a rabbit hole and getting bogged down. So those are the two things: legal pad, pen. Just keep writing, and then hopefully at the end of the day, you got something.
Excellent. All right, Linda, what's superstitions or rituals for you?
Just before COVID, I was doing a lot of traveling. I was like for the last few years. And I got in the habit of doing my whole first draft in longhand, just because they don't make you put away your pen and paper when you're going up and down. And I was doing that a lot, going up and down in the air. And now there's just this amazing connection that happens with pen on paper. And I'm really enjoying that. It just takes me to different places, I feel.
That's cool. All right. Takes you to the paper store a lot for sure. No, so Matt, how about you? Superstitions or rituals?
Which Matt?
Matt Coyle.
I don't really have any. Don't Suck is my number one, but I actually take something I heard from John Lasqua at AboutYourCon, I think, or it was Left Coast, can't remember. He said, this is the way I do it, is that it's okay for your first draft to suck, and mine generally do, but just got to write through it.
Excellent. Very good. Okay, the other Matt Witten, do you have any writing superstitions or rituals?
Well, they all changed during COVID, and I'm hoping they return soon. They're starting to actually already. But my favorite thing to do is get up in the morning, ride my bike to Santa Monica. That's about a 7-mile bike ride. So I get my exercise in. Then I write in the coffee shop, and the same guys come there every day, so I get to socialize with the same guys. And I write, and I spend about 3 or 4 hours there. So I feel like my mornings are perfect. They're exercise, they're socializing, and they're writing. So it's the best possible mornings.
Excellent. Excellent.
Were you said sushi was your go-to snack? It's like I see it all together now.
No, I'm a coffee and oatmeal in the morning guy. So that's that.
You're so healthy. You're so healthy. All right, Vincent Zandri, superstitions or rituals?
I had two things. I maintain the same schedule every day. Get up, coffee, writing, workout, come back, writing, take a nap, writing, that type of thing. But also, I have this little app on my laptop that makes my laptop sound like a typewriter. And I love it. I love it because I'm like, wow, I'm like Ernest Hemingway in the old days, and I love that sound and the rhythm and the feel.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I actually have an electronic keyboard.
Yeah.
Mechanical keyboard. Thank you. That sounds like a typewriter, but it's attached to my laptop. Best thing ever. Fantastic. How about you, Max? Writing superstitions or rituals?
Well, I'm along the lines of, not stopping during a first draft, which I think is really important. When I'm writing a first draft, I also try to end before I'm done so that the next day I can pick up.
I agree.
So if I'm on a scene, I'll maybe stop towards the end of the scene so I can pick up the next day right where I left off. And
excellent.
That's actually a tip I've read, and it seems to work pretty well.
It really does. Yeah. So you're not like staring at the blank page the next morning.
What am I doing now? Yeah.
Exactly. DP Lyle, writing superstitions or rituals?
Not really, or time frames or anything. I just write when I feel like it and don't write when I don't. But that was an echo of Hemingway about stopping in the middle of something. Mm-hmm. He would always start a sentence and then leave it unfinished, so he would come back and not be stale, so to speak. He could get a running start. But I do try to write from beginning to end. I don't outline, so I write the story from beginning to end, and then I go back and fix it. And I try to resist going back and fix it. I'd say the one thing that I do, though, is I get to about 50,000 words, and then I will go back to the beginning and just fly through that, because now you've got the story all sorted out and you're kind of on the downhill slide, and it kind of gives me the energy to finish the book. And it's not that I do heavy editing. I'll fix a few things, but it's just to get the story right the first time. Run from beginning to end and then go back and fix it.
All right, fantastic. David Putnam, writing superstitions or rituals?
I write every day. I write 1,000 words every day, and that's the first thing that I do. But I start back 20 pages. I go back 20 pages and I read forward every day because I want the same syntax and cadence to pick up where I left off. Because if you're in a different emotional spot, you could be slightly depressed, or it might come out in the tone of the writing. So if you start back 20 pages and come forward, then you get that cadence.
Nice. That's great. Andrea, did I ask you about superstitions or rituals? I didn't. Okay.
No. Mine is sort of what I mentioned earlier on about not really getting dressed. And I write first thing in the morning. So I go straight from bed to laptop, as I said, via the coffee machine. And so I write in my pajamas, and I try not to speak to my husband if I can avoid it. Try not to get involved in any in-depth discussions with him. I don't look at television. I don't listen to the radio. I don't go on social media. So it seems to help me in terms of writing fiction if I can move straight from sort of a dream world into the fictional world that I'm living in, that I'm kind of coexisting in. And so that's what I do. I write much better that way. So my first few hours of the day are spent writing, and then I will eventually go and get back in touch with my real life around 12 o'clock and have a wash and eat something. So that's my ritual, really. And my best writing is done in the first few hours of the day when I'm not really fully awake. And you know what that says? Oh, I smell that.
That's just like a little extra
motivation.
It's just a little extra motivation for you. All right, here's our very last question. What's the first thing you do after you finish writing a book? I'm going to start with you, Matt. Matt Witten.
Oh, I get to be Matt. I give it to a couple of people that I trust to read it and tell me what's wrong with it.
Excellent. All right. How about you, David Putnam?
Like I said, I have to write every day, otherwise I feel guilty. So when I finish one book, I already have the next one already started, and I just lap over into the next one.
Wow. I'm like really in awe of that. That's fantastic. Okay, how about you, Max? What do you do first thing after you finish writing a book?
Well, if it's a first draft, I rewrite it. Otherwise, if it's a later draft, I'm usually starting on a new one as well. I find the best thing is just keep going.
Okay, interesting. How about you, Andrea?
I open a bottle of something. Alcoholic.
Yes. I love that. That feels like a celebration I can get involved with. All right. DP Lyle, what do you do first thing after you finish writing a book?
I agree with Dave. I start the next one. I write 2 series, and the Jake's very comedic and the other one is very dark. And so when I'm writing comedy, I'm always thinking of the dark one. And when I'm writing the dark series, I'm thinking about the comedy. So I already have a lot of the plot in my head. So I just turn the page and start the next one.
All right, I have a theory about what Linda does. Linda, what's the first thing you do after you finish writing a book?
I'm so interested to hear what you think, but I don't think I'm not aware of really finishing. I'm scrambling and doing things to it, like right to the moment that it just has to go to my agent for the final. I'll just keep left to my own devices. I keep there whittling away at it and sanding it forever.
Okay, so after the last second, now you have hit send and sent it off to your agent.
Oh, yeah,
now what do you do?
I don't know.
Panic.
Wine or latte?
Right, there you go. All right, fantastic. Vincent Zandri, what's the first thing you do after you finish writing a book?
I head to the local for a beer and a Jameson.
There we go.
And then the next morning I start on something brand new.
Excellent. DP Lyle, first thing you do after you finish writing a book?
He told you already.
Sorry. I was looking at R.G. Belsky, and I said
we often get confused, DP and I. Yeah.
R.G. DP. It's because I took the names down.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's interesting because the answer a lot of people feel is it's a very celebratory thing. Pop a bottle and all that. When I've said to people, I just finished the last line of my book, it's done. They're like, oh, isn't that great? I actually find that a kind of like I would say disturbing, but it's an uncomfortable time because you invest so much, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. You invest so much of yourself in the book and the character, and the ending of the book that you've written. It's like it's all coming together, and when that's over, there's a weird kind. I feel a weird kind of emptiness. So I tend to do what several other people here said, which is I try to get into something else as quickly as I can, but it's not as easy sometimes. You got to, and it's like if you're writing a different series with a different character or a different kind of book, you got to change gears. So it's actually one of the more difficult times for me, even though you're obviously happy that you finished the book.
All right, good. Matt Coyle, first thing you do after you finish writing a book?
Ice cream, and then I write 2-star reviews on friends' books on Goodreads.
Not mine, I hope.
No.
Yeah, I meant to thank you for that, Matt.
Was it about taking the Lord's name in vain? By any chance?
But I rounded up.
Well, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being here today on. Hold on, I almost set the whole thing going. Thank you so much for being here today on Readers Ask Authors. You guys had great answers to your questions. And thanks to everybody who joined us live for the show. And of course, there will be a replay running all day. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for being here.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Happy